Episode number 928, Using LinkedIn to Grow Your Chapter.
You're listening to the official BNI podcast with BNI founder and Chief Visionary Officer, Dr. Ivan Misner. Stay tuned for networking and referral marketing tips from the man who's been called the father of modern networking, along with suggestions and insights into getting the most from your membership in the world's largest networking organization, BNI.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the official BNI podcast. I'm Priscilla Rice, and I'm coming to you from Live Oak Recording Studio in Berkeley, California, and I'm joined on the phone today by the founder and the Chief Visionary Officer of BNI, Dr. Ivan Misner. Hello, Ivan. How are you, and where are you?
I am in Montreal, Canada this week, speaking to BNI members, and I'm always excited to visit Canada. That was the very first country that we opened up in after the United States, so it's always great to go back. They gave me a certificate once that said I'm an honorary citizen, but I don't think it would actually hold up on a passport. It was a nice gift.
Yeah.
So this week we have somebody who's been on BNI podcast a couple of times. They were a guest on episode 665, Optimize Your BNI Connect Profile, and 706, Use Your LinkedIn Profile to Increase Your VCP, and that is Tom Etherington. Tom is an online branding personal expert, a content marketer, a LinkedIn coach, and profile writer. He's also a BNI ambassador and a 10-year chapter member in Sydney, Australia. Since 2015, Tom has been helping people use LinkedIn to build credibility and trust, working with business owners and professionals across various industries to achieve measurable improvements in their online presence. He has presented on leveraging LinkedIn and BNI many times, and he's appeared on the two podcasts that I just mentioned. And of course, I'm very active in LinkedIn and always love your advice. Tom, welcome back to the BNI podcast.
Thanks very much for having me back, Ivan. It's great to be on the podcast again.
It's good to have you here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Sydney International Convention in November.
Yeah, absolutely. Only a couple of months away. So happy to have it in Sydney, of course. Don't have to travel too far.
Yeah, and if you haven't signed up, if you're listening to this, sign up for it. The conventions are amazing. It's like going to a United Nations event where all the countries love each other. It's an incredible experience. So let's just jump right in, Tom. You say LinkedIn is a gold mine for BNI visitors and to think beyond the room to tap into hidden networks. Talk about that, because I never really thought of LinkedIn as a way to tap into BNI.
Yeah, to visitors, I mean, obviously we know the visitors in our immediate networks are on LinkedIn and we connect with them and maybe interact with them as we go. But what I wanted to talk about today was the more hidden networks, which is the bit that you mentioned at the end there. So I think that some people get a bit visitor invited out at some point during their BNI journey. And they're, when the slide comes up at the end of our meeting and people, it's the empty categories in the chapter, people often sort of glaze over a bit and think, I don't know anyone. But in their current networks, there's a lot of opportunity to invite people that they've probably forgotten about. Maybe they've connected to 5-10 years ago and they're just sitting in their LinkedIn network and they haven't really explored those opportunities. So that's what I wanted to cover today. It's really some gold to come up with an strategic invite campaign to get those sort of along to BNI and work with your fellow members to do that. And the way to do that is on LinkedIn, there's you can use a search function. It's not the best search function in the world, the free version of LinkedIn. But if you go to the search bar at the top, and I think there's a graphic included in this, I have recorded a video as well to explain a bit more.
Yeah, we'll put the graphic in the podcast.
Yeah, fantastic. So you can put a search, say, for example, in our chapter, we're currently looking for a videographer. So if you put that in the search bar at the top and then click people, and the first thing to do is check your own network. So if you click on first, so that's the people you're connected with, it will come up with all the first connections that are videographers. And like I say, there may be one or two in there that you think, I didn't know they were, had started their own business, or maybe connected with them years ago, or I'd completely forgotten I was connected to them. And there's an opportunity to reconnect. So quite a simple message. It's not an outreachy, spammy message then. It's really just a reconnection message to build that relationship again and potentially ask them along to visit the chapter. And the other thing about that is, so you can do your first connections, which is one way to start. But there's actually a setting on there. Again, we'll look at the graphic, but if you go across to all filters and then scroll down, there's connections of, and this is where I'm saying there's hidden gold, because you can search the connections of anyone you're already connected to on LinkedIn and see who they're connected to. So, for example, if I went to Ivan Meisner, scrolled down to connections of, and that videographer, we've already got that in the search engine, it would see how many videographers you're connected to. So, say if I'm in your chapter or you're in my chapter, I can, come up with a couple of names and say, hey, do you know Martin? I see you're connected to him on LinkedIn. Can you introduce me perhaps? First of all, he's a great connection for my business. So it's not just for BNI this, it's for, business opportunities. But also I think he could be, looking at his profile, he could be a great addition to the chapter. So maybe, we could invite him along and, obviously you already have that connection, and maybe you're just LinkedIn connected, in which case you don't know him that well. But, there's already a connection, a very small sort of warm opportunity for an invite there as well. So on the example that I've put in the, it's our, we're looking for Tommy is our mortgage broker in our chapter, and he's potentially looking for a bookkeeper. And so as you can see on that graphic there, if you have a look on the podcast, he's connected to 3 bookkeepers. So I could potentially, have a chat with those and maybe invite them along to BNI. So it's a very simple way of tapping into hidden networks rather than just the surface level ones.
Well, this is kind of an obvious question, but I'm presuming you've done this and had success in actually doing this to bring in people.
Yeah, absolutely. It came up sort of by accident, really. It came up working with a client who was, he's got a large sort of signage and printing business, and he was he said to me, I'm looking for, marketing managers of sort of medium to large size companies. And we had a look in his first connections, and he already had 10 in there that was perfect, ideal clients that he'd never really interacted with. He just connected with them at some point. Yeah. So that's the first one, as in his first connections. But in terms of the other ones, I've literally sat there and done that in a one-to-one situation. And it's even better in a power team situation. If you can sit around, everyone gets their laptops out and sits around and goes.
Let's talk about power teams, because we only have a few minutes left. You want to talk about using one-to-ones and power teams in a chapter. So let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So you can literally, can sit there with someone in a one-to-one and open up their the LinkedIn and do exactly what I said. Look at connections of, see who they're connected to, and then start a discussion. Literally go through them one by one and say, how do you know this person? Could we potentially invite them along to BNI and do an intro? And then it gets them thinking. And even if it's not that person, it will get them thinking about other people that they know in that, that they currently interact with. And maybe it will spark some ideas there. Same for power teams. If you're sitting around, for example, we've got a marketing power team with, myself, a sort of web developer, graphic designer. If we're sitting around and we're looking for that videographer, we may as well pool our networks and just cast the net a bit wider and see who's out there, who we're already connected to. We could potentially open up to connecting with new people, but initially it's a much easier conversation if it's people that the team are already connected to. So that's the way I'd sort of leverage it. I've done it as education workshops as well, and we did it for our own BNI chapter when we had 80 people along to a visitors day, because we were very specifically targeting people in those seats that would make a big difference to our chapter, those sort of empty seats, if you like.
So you have one more topic that I think is, I love this topic, and that's turning cold pitches into warm invitations and visitors. Can you talk about that? Because I think it's brilliant, and I've seen it done with individual cold calls, but not so much with LinkedIn. I love this concept. Explain that to us.
Yeah, so unfortunately, LinkedIn, you do get, everyone on here will resonate with this, getting a few of those messages where people connect with you and then instantly hit you up with a pitch for their business, often a 300-word pitch for their business. So I always look at their profile, and then I send them a reply back, and I say, hey, that sounds like a great opportunity for people, a great solution for people. I meet 50 business owners every Friday morning for a networking breakfast at the Shangri-La in Sydney. Love to hear about your solution. And you'll get the chance to meet, maybe chuck in a couple of names from people in there that they'd be good for them to meet. And you can present to the room, shall I send you a link to book? And I send people, not just Sydney now, I send them across Australia. So I think if that's a good opportunity to fly in and meet a few people as well.
I'm here to tell you that technique works. I've seen it work. And you tell them, bring 50 or more business cards with you. I look forward to meeting you. And people come. And if they don't come, it's the wrong person anyway. They're transactionally networking, not relationally networking.
That's 100% true. And like I said, I have had success doing that. But also, if it doesn't work for them, you've given them an opportunity. You've been polite. You've invited them onto an event. And if it's not for them, they're very unlikely to keep sending you those messages. I think you'll be off their list at that point. So a win-win all round, I would say.
Well, just to wrap up, you use these methods to help people find clients and referral partners as well, correct?
Absolutely. It's the same principle. We're looking for people. And again, we're not looking to spam people. We're looking for people to open conversations with and, invite them along to BNI if it's appropriate, but generally look for people that they can do business with. And referral partners, absolutely. It's a fantastic way to find those. And then, like I say, start those conversations.
Fantastic. Any last thoughts, Tom, before we wrap up?
No, just to get active on it, really. Give it a go, especially in your one-to-ones. I think that's a really good opportunity to try it there. But maybe I've done education pieces. I did one in New York, actually, online a while ago, but online. But doing education pieces to get the people thinking in that way, that there's not just opportunities in front of them. There are those hidden networks that they can tap into as well.
Fantastic. Well, listen, for any BNI member that would like more information from Tom directly related to BNI as well as his other services, go to connectcontent.com.au/BNI. And the /BNI section's got information very specific to BNI, correct, Tom?
Absolutely. So it's got information relating to the podcast 665, 706, and now this one, 928, and there's video run-throughs as well on there.
Tom, thanks for being on the BNI podcast, and hope to have you back again.
Thanks so much, Ivan. I look forward to seeing you in Sydney in a couple of months.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Priscilla, back to you.
Okay, great. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. This podcast is sponsored by MeisnerAudioprograms.com. These audio programs will provide you with the tools and the inspiration to powerfully enhance your BNI experience. So check out the great material that's available to you at MeisnerAudioprograms.com and then use the promo code IVAN50 for 50% off of everything. All of the proceeds go to the BNI Foundation. Thanks so much for listening. This is Priscilla Rice, and we look forward to having you join us again next week for another exciting episode of the official BNI podcast.